questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told JC, Nate and Rich that good times are coming, no need for deep diving. Fan Cam's reactions, watch alongs to the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South stay flying, keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Big up, big up, big up. Thank you, sweetheart. And this is the match reaction to the 1-1 draw against Liverpool at Anfield last night. First and foremost, big up to Nate and JC holding down the fort with an amazing watch along. You can see the emotions were all over the place. But we're happy with the point. But we're going to chop it up. We're going to chop it up here with our reaction for you. Nate, how you doing, my guy?
Yeah, mate, all good, all good. I mean, obviously, you know, last night was a very important result. Of course, everything kind of, a lot of people would have seen the way that the lineup was announced and so on and so forth. And naturally, Palace Twitter went into full-blown Palace Twitter meltdown, as it does, understandably, because it wouldn't have been everybody's first choice of lineup. But look, I had no issues with any of that. We'll chop it up in a second. But yeah, man, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all good, to be fair. Steph had a good birthday in that, so that was good. And it was just capped off with a very, very good and important result.
Yeah, well, firstly, obviously, happy birthday to the missus. Obviously, we did shout her out on the watch along.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone who watched, by the way, because it means a lot to us that people want to engage with us on the watch along, because we're trying to do things a bit differently this year on Eagle Eyed Football, because we feel like we kind of missed the boat with it last season because our match reactions were a bit too long. So now we're trying to do a bit shorter now. But yeah, no, there's a big up to Steph and big up to the girls as well. It's always good that, you know, the fact the family's doing good, mate. And listen, the real party starts on Saturday, but we're here to talk about last night's result. Because I'm not going to lie to you, Rich, if you'd offered me a goal and we just lose 2-3-1, I would have taken that before kickoff. But to get a point, arguably could have won it, arguably could have lost it. I think it's a fair result. But let's start with the lineup, because I think that is the best talking point to start with. So I'm just going to pull up the Palace lineup here first. Guaita, Mitchell, Anderson, Gurhey, Ward as captain, Klein in a back five, which obviously raised a few eyebrows. Doucouré, Schlupp, Eze, Ayew. So Eze and Ayew, Eze left, Ayew right, and Schlupp and Doucouré in midfield. And Wilf as the lone striker. The bench, I had no issue with this bench, but I could see quite a few people were going mad about it. But obviously it was Sam Johnston, Malcolm Abiwe, Will Hughes, Luka Milivojevic, Chris Richards, Luke Plange, Michael Elise, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Odson Edouard. Looking at that lineup, Rich, I don't think anyone can have many complaints. Obviously, Ward at centre-back was probably the standout, balk your eyes out. But what did you think of it when you seen it?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, I thought it was to go and attack Trent side. You know what I mean? Like, naturally, obviously, he's great going forward, but defensively could be a bit shaky. And obviously, what Anderson was doing so well against Arsenal was those long diags. So I was thinking, oh, okay, can we isolate Trent with Wilf? But then on the flip side, I was thinking, listen, they needed to react after their draw with Fulham. We need to be defensively a bit more stable. And I thought to myself, two other things that came to mind. One, it's nice that we're trying a new formation again, because there may be games we might have to use it. And two, I can see the logic in the team selection.
Yeah.
If you notice, all the players that were there were they're able to hold up the ball really well.
Yeah.
In one way or another. So no complaints from my end.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just quickly run through our opponents. Lineup: Alisson in goal, Trent, Nat Phillips, Van Dijk, Robertson, Harvey Elliott, James Milner, Fabinho, Darwin Nunez, Mohamed Salah, and Luis Diaz. Obviously, I know that Nunez played centre, Salah right, Diaz left. Bench was Gomez, Keita, Adrian, Henderson, Tsimikas, Carvalho, Clark, by Chetic, I want to say, but I'm probably butchering that, so I do apologize, and Sepp Vandenberg. Obviously, notable absentee on that list was Thiago Alcantara, pivotal player for Liverpool. One thing that Munzie's show picked up brilliantly on, because I've just come off Munzie's show. By the time that you're watching this, we're recording this as of just 20 to 9 on the Tuesday night. Liverpool have not recovered from losing Gini Wijnaldum on a free, because Wijnaldum's energy and running was pivotal to how Liverpool would press the ball into those half spaces that defenders were caught sleeping in. You could argue that maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain could be that player, but he's too injury prone for Liverpool, and that's something that they haven't been able to switch upon. But I looked at their lineup and thought, okay, you'd expect that with Nat Phillips was a bit of a surprise, but we knew Matip was out, Thiago was out, so I was kind of expecting to see Joe Gomez there. But obviously, Nat Phillips, from our perspective, would be the weak link in their defense, because you're thinking, okay, he's not as experienced as Joe Gomez, so there might be a chance for us to break him in and potentially try and get shots on goal. And obviously, we'll talk about that as the game goes in. But yeah, thoughts on their lineup, Rich? I'll pull it back up here for a second.
Yeah, you know what? Once I'd seen Natty Phillips in defence, I was like, oh, no Gomez. Like, obviously I knew Matip and Kanate were both out, and I was like, no Gomez. That's risky.
Yeah,
it's really risky. And then I saw Milner in there, and to be fair, I like Milner. He's just such an honest player. Like, he just gives 100%, to be fair. And I thought to myself, that midfield, it's interesting. It's not their strongest, but it's interesting. But obviously, as the game started, it was just like, man, these lot are bopping us.
Yeah.
They're really bopping us. So obviously, like, look, we've kind of dodged the bullet not playing Liverpool's strongest 11, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that's not to discredit how extremely well we played and how well they played, especially for the first 20.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the first 20, I was worried. I was like, yo, this could be an absolute humiliation. But for all the panic on Palace Twitter about 5 at the back, Roy Hodgson football, all of this, and I'm like, let's not be too disingenuous to Roy Hodgson. Yes, his brand of football was not pleasing to watch, but it got results. Last night, Vieira did not want to effectively give ourselves a rope to hang ourselves with, because you know what happens if you try and match Liverpool blow for blow. They'll pick you off at will.
Oh, it could have been
Last night, all we did was literally, we may have had to park the Brixton bus garage, South Croydon bus garage, East bus garage,
and the train depots as well.
Oh yeah, so all of them, mate. But point is, we knew what we were doing. We were going to set up to frustrate the living daylights out of them, and for the most part, it worked to perfection. Because even when Liverpool did have chances, they squandered them. And you're thinking to yourself, like, the Núñez shot that he completely balloons over. You feel for him, because if he's a little bit sharper and he's not trying to overthink the shot, because I think it was in front of the cop, if I remember correctly, he probably wouldn't have. No, was it in front of the cop? Was it in front of the Anfield Road?
No, it'd be Anfield Road. I think they go towards the cop second half.
Yeah. So it goes, the Annie Road is where our fans were. Given maybe a nanosecond or 5 seconds more, he may have been able to keep the shot down and test Guaita, but it balloons over. But that was a warning shot. We survived it.
Yeah.
But there were instances of their play, particularly leading up to, ironically, our goal, that I was thinking, oh, we could be in trouble here. We need to make sure that if we are losing the ball, we're quick to get a body in front of it. I don't mind if we deflect it out for corners and throws and the rest of it. Just get a block on the ball. I don't care about, where the ball is. Just make sure the ball is not in a dangerous part of our box. Because we know our goalkeeper's not the best at coming out off his line. We know he's not the best at claiming crosses. Last night, I thought he was pretty good, actually, to be fair. A little bit shaky, a little bit.
Yeah.
Better than what we've seen.
Absolutely.
But we've got to talk about the moment of the game for us. I mean, there were a few chances that were missed, but I've been running this Eze thing, right? I said it that Eze was going to be a pivotal player for this season. People called me mad, said I was smoking other substances and what have you. Sorry, but Gallagher doesn't play the pass Eze played. Gallagher's got the energy that Eze doesn't have.
Yeah.
But let's be real. What Gallagher does, Eze can't do. What Eze does, Gallagher can't do. The two of them together in a midfield would be absolute flames. But we can only dream at the moment. But
you know what's crazy with it? Sorry, finish up. Sorry.
That assist was crazy. But what really struck me, and I watched the lads on Koppich's reaction, why didn't Fabinho body check him? Because that's basic defending. And I'm looking at that thinking, you know what? That's a very good point. If that's us, I'm saying, yo, Schlupp or Decore or even Ebbs, one of you take the yellow card. Yeah, okay, you'd argue it's a sloppy yellow card to take. But listen, you've got to take it for the team. And thankfully he didn't. But you're looking at it going, no, wait a minute. Fabinho wouldn't be that kind of player that's sloppy. But thankfully, he was sloppy last night. So go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Eze, I think the first 10, he was losing the ball quite a bit. You could sense he was just getting, he's getting annoyed with himself. But once he settled, my gosh, my goodness, Eze, incredible. Now let's actually talk about the goal. Big up to VG, by the way, because the ball was rolled back to him, and he hasn't rushed. He's clipped a decent little ball into Eze. Who's then brought it down and then within 2 moves has found himself dribbled in between 2 players. Now you made a valid point. Fabinho's got to take the yellow card. I think Diaz took one on Ayew. I don't know if it was after that, but if that's a perfect example, like, listen, he's got power, just take the yellow, you know. But I don't want to discredit the skill from Eze. You know, it's beautiful. And then the hardest part is playing the pass to perfection. Wilf was number 1 onside. Number 2, never even had to break stride. You know, it was such a perfect ball in. And you know what? I know we may touch about his mischance. And I listened to his interview yesterday and stuff. He was saying that the ball got fizzed in too fast for him and stuff. So he had to quickly go with his right foot. But the way he took that goal, and for those who obviously don't have like Palace TV and stuff like that, they were actually showing Wilf and a few others doing finishing drills that week. That was literally one of the goals he scored. It was incredible, right into the far corner. Yeah. But there's another aspect I want to really touch on, and this is from a Liverpool standpoint. Van Dijk failed to engage at any moment. It looked as if he slowed down towards the end when I don't know what he was doing. It was weird. It was so weird. You know, he kind of just allowed him to shoot.
I don't, obviously, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I can't necessarily speak as if I know Liverpool intricately. I don't. I'm a Crystal Palace fan. But as I understand it, I think Van Dijk was so confident that Alisson would deal with it because, let's be fair, there's a reason why Liverpool paid the money they did to sign him. You know, Van Dijk's there's such a trust there between that back four that they know if you get past Van Dijk or Trent or Robertson or whoever's next to Van Dijk, you've still got to get past Alisson, and that's no easy feat. Now, obviously, Alisson doesn't really stand much of a chance because even with the best intent of the world, that finish from Zaha is just too good to stop.
Too good.
You know, and look, we're not trying to be biased here because let's be fair, Guaita can't get near that kind of shot. No keeper at the moment. But having said that, we know Alisson has it in him to pull out a save out of nowhere. He did it at Selhurst Park in January where he stopped Elise scoring from outside the box. So by no means I'm looking at that going, yo, Alisson's having an off day. That was just one shot that no keeper could save. Yeah. Even the greats of like Lev Yashin, Oliver Kahn, David Seaman, Dida, and all of these goalkeepers that have come down throughout the decades. Maybe one or two of them could have got to it. But it's one of those shots that you just know it's a goal. And it's so well taken that you're thinking it's totally against the run of play. We're not remotely complaining, but we're thinking, oh boy, we may have just angered the beast by going 1-0 up against the However, it felt as if that just shocked them. So they were like, wait, what? We're losing. And obviously, there's a moment in the second half where the beast was angered, but ironically, it was of their own making. But to finish, Rich, on the Eze assist for the Zaha goal, I get that people want to see Conor Gallagher back. Of course, guy was sensational for us last season. I'm not remotely going to deny that. But we have to stop pining after loan players. I said it so many times in match reactions last season. Don't fall in love with a loan player. They'll only break your heart. And understandably, Gallagher was one of the best players in a red and blue shirt last season. He made us excited to watch Palace. I still remember the feeling I got when he scored his brace away at West Ham in the third game of last season. I was like, you know what? This guy might... There's even a fan cam with me saying Conor Gallagher signed the team. That's how desperate.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not remotely like acting like, no, Gallagher's dead. But the way we took that goal proves to me last season we lost here 3-0, having had chances to make it 3-2 minimum.
Yeah.
But last night we said, listen, we won't win here unless we snot Liverpool, which doesn't happen because Fulham somehow was able to do it. But the imperative thing last night was if we can't win, don't lose. And we did that to perfection last night.
Absolutely.
So just quickly, we're going to briefly move ahead a little bit because I don't mean to talk too much about it. But some of the chances that were begging for Liverpool in the first half, you could argue it's a touch of nerves. It's their first game back at Anfield under the lights. Obviously, their season didn't quite pan out the way it should have towards the end of last season. Missing out on 2 big trophies they wanted, but they did get the other 2 trophies they were looking to win. But it's rare that you see Anfield as kind of not... I mean, look, Anfield's always going to be rocking for Monday Night Football under the lights. Doesn't matter who they're playing. But you could see, I think, the result at Fulham and how slow they were to get into some kind of their rhythm last night. It played into our hands as we were like, listen, let's not overcommit and do something silly. Let's just let Liverpool's not necessarily rigid mind state work against them, and it worked to perfection. Would you agree, or do you think I'm
Yeah, you know what? You can sense there was a air of nerves, and I think that stemmed from after they missed their first 2 chances, then it was like, okay, is this going to be one of those nights, sort of thing? Yeah. And Anfield went quiet. It was weird.
Yeah,
I'm just not used to that. Normally, like they're singing loud throughout it. There was a kind of an eerie silence and stuff. Big up to our traveling fans. They're always gonna be singing, you know. And then we scored, and then I think it was almost a dead silence. You know, it was just incredible. And funny enough, it's going to go into something that I have a theory on in the second half as well, and that's sending off. But yeah, it's like we managed the game really, really well. Managed it really well. Yes, there was a few last-ditch tackles. I think Nunes' second one, the one that hit the post, I think he was overthinking it because he missed the earlier chance.
Yeah.
You know, Salah's header was tame because that was a great ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Cracking ball. Absolute cracking ball.
From Liverpool's standpoint, I think Harvey Elliott was brilliant.
Yeah, he's really...
Like, he just kept finding the pockets. Fabinho was fizzing balls into him. It's unbelievable. But we rode the storm, and we deservedly went in ahead, I would say, just through a defensive tenacity.
I mean, obviously, look, I did watch Kopish's reaction, and they were saying they spammed so many crosses, and that's something that I did pick up on, is like, they're spamming a lot of crosses. They don't do this. You wouldn't regard Liverpool as a cross-the-ball team because they relied massively on Jota, Mane, Salah, Firmino, that interchangeable front 3 that is an embarrassment of riches up top. It didn't matter how many times they crossed the ball. They knew they had players in and around to cause absolute havoc. But the back 5 kind of got to them a bit because they weren't sure how to break it down. And because we weren't particularly confident in Joel Ward at centre-back, even though he didn't remotely put a foot on it, I think our kind of ability to just bring in a makeshift centre-back who's a right-back, they were like, Palace are playing 5 at the back. Nobody told us this. They normally play 3. So that ability to change things up and keep them flat-footed, it played into our hands. I don't expect us to go 5 at the back on Saturday. I think we will change the game plan back to what we're familiar with.
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
But,
you know what? A massive shout out to our defense, because we dealt with all crosses, we dealt with corners, and I think there might have been only one time that I think they hit the post, I believe, or I could be wrong, but we generally dealt with it very, very well.
We
And
did.
that's something that we're not good at normally.
We did. So I remember, from what I remember of the watch along, because you know what, I was so happy just going into work this morning, listening to a couple of Liverpool fans that work in and around me, and they, to be fair to them, they were nothing but complimentary to how we played. They put it simply. They said, "Listen, we didn't turn up enough when it mattered most, and you took full advantage of that." And that's something that now a lot of clubs will look at what Fulham did and what we did last night and go, provided you don't make silly decisions to go and play wandering football and you literally sit rigid and just wait for the perfect time to expose that massively high line that Liverpool play, you can get at them. But going into the second half, I remember thinking, okay, listen, we're 1-0 up, massively against the run of play, but we're not complaining.
Yeah.
We're off the mark for the season, so there's no more.
That's a good sign, yeah.
There's no more worrying about, are we going to score a goal? Do we even know what that feels like anymore?
Yeah.
Because obviously the one drawback from the Arsenal game was the chances were there, but they weren't taken. But second half kicks off, and we knew Liverpool had to make a reaction because I knew for a fact Klopp rollopped his dressing room, because there's a part of me that believes there's a slight modicum of arrogance in that Liverpool dressing room, and rightly so. They're a quality side. But they weren't expecting to be 1-0 down against the run of play to a team that, let's be fair, they've got a remarkable record over, like 10 consecutive wins over us in both home and away fixtures. Now you look at it and go, can we just don't lose? I don't care if we don't win. I just don't want to lose. But let's get to the biggest talking point of the game, because I wasn't sure what to make of this because me and my stream was behind, so I had to wait until I could see it. But the Darwin Nunez red card, Rich. Now, obviously, bias aside, and being Palace fans aside, if that's one of our players, I'm seething with anger that they've done something so brain dead, needless, pointless. But he's a young man, so I'm looking at it going, look, we've seen Zaha be that kind of petulant, maybe not headbutting someone, but that kind of needless petulance. You're letting the defender wind you up. And
it was like last year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He picked up
Tanganga got in his head.
Yeah.
So I feel for Nunez, because you can quite clearly see, I don't think he realized how silly it looked until it dawned on him that the referee had sent him off. But can't do that in the Premier League, And look, can't do it in any league, to be fair, but especially in the Premier League where there's cameras everywhere. And VAR didn't even look at it because it was as clear as day. It was a red card. But
the ref, it was right in front of the ref as well, to be fair.
Oh yeah, he could see. He was like, no, wait. No, it's one thing for a bit of fisticuffs or a bit of pushing and shoving, but to clearly put your head on another player, or because he poked you in the back.
Yeah, he set himself up now. Because Anderson did a number on him. He was just pestering him the whole game. Little things like little pinches and little pushes here and stuff, and just pointing in his face, and he was just antagonizing him the whole game. Constantly.
He fully rattled him, bro. He fully rattled him.
The rest of the Premier League will be like, okay, that's how we rattled him.
Basically, Anderson took a leaf out of Wimbledon's dark arts book. Wimbledon were famous for that kind of dark arts thing back in the 90s and the 80s, actually, to be fair. So you're looking at it and thinking, okay, Anderson, that's clever, but be careful. Because the one thing you don't want to do is draw attention to yourself doing that. Because you look at the likes of Sergio Ramos, he's the master of that sort of thing. But referees are keen to that thing when they realize, wait, this guy's got a track record of getting star centre forwards, yellow carded and red carded and what have you. It was ingenious by Anderson, because I won't lie, yes, there was contact, but Anderson sold that like a stone cold stunner.
I've seen it like a few times. All I've seen is this. And he's just
Don't get me wrong, it was quite clear he caught him. But I was thinking, I
think it might have been the shock, because the way he's like, I was thinking, what's he doing? And I think, maybe it's a shock. Maybe the shock factor,
because no one expects to get headbutted at a football game, mate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not condoning what Nunez did, for the record. We don't want any player, regardless of whether it's our player or a Liverpool player, getting headbutted, because it's a silly thing to do. Like, all bias aside, all partisanship aside, You don't want to see that in the modern game.
I would
And
say that.
he has to learn from this, and he will learn from this because Klopp even
I'm
said,
sure he will.
you know. But
Like, I had a theory on the red card just quickly.
yeah, go ahead.
I think personally
Mm-hmm.
that decision of him getting sent off really riled the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And from when they were like kind of like quiet for I think the next 5-10 minutes, they were just amped. They're just like and
Yeah,
something.
they were baying for blood. I mean, bear in mind, they were 1-0 down. Their new club record signing has just been shown a straight red on his home debut at Anfield.
Yeah.
And as you'll know, when you're in the ground and you don't have the benefit of big screen replays, for example, if you're sitting in the White Horse Lane end of Selhurst Park, you can't see what's on the big screen.
No.
So all you're seeing is, say, for example, we're seeing Sheikh Doucouré get sent off, right? To you in the Holmesdale, to Luke in the main stand, or Nicky in the Arthur Waite, you're all ringing me going, nah, Nate, it's a definite red card. You got to hear the ball. But I'm going mad because I'm thinking, that ain't no red card, it's rubbish, it's red, tear. You know, it's one of those where when you're a fan in the ground, you don't get the benefit. Bear in mind, there's no screens at Anfield. So there's no way for them to see.
Yeah, they're all Old Trafford. Yeah, there's no screens.
Yeah, the two biggest clubs in the country don't have screens at their ground, but we move. But more importantly, they don't have the benefit of seeing live replays in their stadium. If they could see it, they'd be like, oh, yeah, no, that's fair play. That's a definite red card. So you've got the crowd angered by their one of their new signings getting sent off on his home debut. That played into the players' hands because they realized, right, we have to make something happen here. Because if this crowd, if the crowd leaves Anfield tonight, losing 1-0 to a team that they beat here 3-0 the season before, questions will be asked of, do we want to challenge for the title? Because they knew City had won on the Saturday. So they were already, 4 points before a ball had been kicked? No, 5 points.
Before the ball's kicked and stuff. And you're totally right, Nate. Like, and I think as for us, looking at us, I think we just needed to weather that storm for the 10 minutes and stuff. It was kind of like within that 10-minute period of like just frustration of the red card that Diaz scored an absolute blinder. He scored an absolute.
We'll get onto that in a second, but I think we should go over the tactical overview for a minute.
Yeah.
Because, Rich, you've gone to a lot of. I want to make sure that you get this out there. So, people, what we're going to do is Rich has brought up something that we're going to just basically run you through our patterns of play for a little bit. Highlight Liverpool's patterns of play because there was some good football on show last night. Maybe not the spectacle of the classic Premier League, but look, we're a new side that's still trying to get used to some of the new players we brought in. But I thought last night we improved massively from the Arsenal game because lessons were learned. We were way too sloppy in the Arsenal game. Last night, we weren't giving them an inch, apart from Diaz running past 5 of our men like they weren't there. But we'll get onto that after this. You're muted, Rich.
No, I think I need to change my.
Okay, I think Rich's mic is having a bit of a problem here, folks.
No worries. I'm going to use the default. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Yeah,
so I just bring this in.
Cool. So, so obviously we set up as a 5-4-1. They set up with a traditional 4-3-3. But as soon as the game kicked off, tell you what, you had Diaz here. Obviously, Nunes was obviously trying to occupy Anderson, and Salah tucked in, which meant that Robbo could play here and Trent was here. Now, you'd think that's crazy. Check this. You then had Elliott in between the lines. Milner was kind of doing a bit of both. And you know what? Fabinho was like here, dictating. And I think with obviously Van Dijk and Natty Phillips picking up these spaces, like I think for Liverpool, they had so many like attacking outlets. I think their biggest issue though was that for me, just watching the game, Van Dijk and Phillips, the gaps were too big.
Yeah.
The gaps were too big. So for us, when we eventually then did pick up the ball, and it happened a few times, whether it was Schlupp here, or whether or whether it was Eze here. All because Fabinho had gone forward, what Saha was doing was just trying to find those runs.
Yeah.
So he would try to see if these lines work. There we go. He was either trying to do this run into the channel, or he was doing it in reverse. Let me just do the line again. Or trying to really curve his run. Let me get a line up. There we go. Typical. There you go. So he's trying to curve his run this way. No, that's straight lines. I'll get used to this.
Oh, this is why we need JC here.
Yeah, he's better at pointing at things as well. There we go.
Sorry, JC. I knew he couldn't resist that one. Bear in mind that joke wasn't made by me, folks. I'm just saying.
This is it. Right. So he was trying to bend his run. And every time it was kind of in between the defenders. The one time it did work. Now, obviously, the ball's got played out to VG. And Eze has been quite clever because obviously Trent's got himself up the field. What he's done really well is that he's pulled out. Pause. Fabinho's come across, and Trent's been caught in no man's land with the pass.
Yeah.
So the ball's come into Eze here, and now they're not close enough.
Yeah, they've got way too much space between them to compensate for it.
Eze's done brilliantly, by the way.
Amazing job
to do this. Now, this is where I was really impressed. This is where I said that the gap was just too big. The gap was too big because now I can actually draw this line properly. Eze has now put a beautiful ball in here. A phenomenal pass, weight of pass, everything fantastic. Which means all Wolf has to do is just run onto it, and he's timed his run to perfection. You know, still has a lot to do, to be fair. You know, picking up the ball, but to actually then, and as you said, Nick, to actually bend the ball into that bottom corner
against Alisson, who's no easy goalkeeper to get it past.
Not a slouch at all. Hold on, let's see. Let me move Saha back here. Alisson obviously is tucked over a bit. This is the wrong line. It's the curved line. There we go. Oh, there we go. I'll get quicker at this, by the way, guys.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, Alisson, it weren't like he was too far from it, but it was just the manner in which we'll just bent that into the far corner.
I think it's a case of the momentum of the shot and the speed of the shot. Alisson probably does get something on it, but he's nowhere near enough to put it behind or knock it to the post. It's just it's too strong a shot for him to actively get a grasp on. But look, you know what it is with Alisson. He can pull off saves out of nowhere. You're like, how did he save that? What the hell? Yeah. So, you know, credit to Wilf. Wilf bent it beautifully.
100%. Now, just lastly, regarding from our side, and just dealing with Liverpool, as much as they had the numbers forward, and obviously they were moving around, and there was a lot of, like, we just kept our shape really well. You know, Ayew tucked in, Decore, Schlupp, and Eze all tucked in. They went out if they needed to go out and stuff like that, and it was really compact. The only issue, obviously, was their goal. Now, let me remove Diaz because he's. I won't currently get rid of him just in case we need him in the future. But like, he's been sent off. Not Diaz. Nunez. So, now the only issue is just a bit defensively here, and it's about. And this is why, you know, when you mentioned about Fabinho, I think Ayew should take the yellow here. In that first instance, just take the yellow. Because by the time Diaz has got here, we have a problem because let's just drop our centre backs back a bit.
Ward and Mark were in the box. Anderson was
let's see, Anderson was. Memory serves me right. No, but then he did drop off eventually. But yeah, Decore was about to put a tackle in and had to pull out of that tackle.
Pause.
So Diaz has pause again. Diaz has come across and then slap. Now, Ward's here already.
Yeah.
Diaz has made a move to, he's like a fake shot. Only there's a slight issue, like it's an understandable mistake. If Schlupp doesn't buy that, because what he did, he actually bought the dummy and then he ended up tucking in way too much towards Ward. If he had just held his ground a bit, Diaz wouldn't get that shot off. But to be fair, Diaz, oh my days, to be able to get a shot off running away from goal, by the way, and literally pick out this far corner, you just got to put your hands up and say, great goal.
No,
it took
bro, look, you see them kind of goals, yeah? The saltiest of football fans will be like, oh, dead goal, fluke goal, They do the Lampard. You know what I mean? And look, obviously, that was last season. But what I'm saying is that you can, by every means, say, look, disappointing to concede when we're 1-0 up against 10 men. But ironically, and this is something that I'm impressed with at Liverpool, they played better with 10 men than they did 11.
They did.
You know, but I've just sent you something that I found on the Crystal Palace Reddit, and it's made me laugh, boy.
One second, let me see if I can get this uploaded.
I'm going to send this to my Liverpool supporting mate because he was like, where did you get this Anderson guy? I beg you, sell him to us. I was like, bro, we ain't selling nobody but James Tompkins to anyone, bro. Because I know that Martin was saying to me, how much do you want for James Tompkins? I said, 1 bag of Haribo, bro. The big party size ones.
This is it. Bear with me. All right, it's just airdropped in. I just got to find it. 1 second. Come on, yeah. There it's loaded. Come on. There we go. And is it there? Now, we obviously mentioned Anderson. I think he was man of the match again. Fantastic performance.
100%.
You know, he's become the best centre back at the club now. He really has.
There it is.
He had man in his pocket.
Them jeans are kind of looking tight, boy. I mean, obviously not as a Photoshop, but nah. Listen. Look, the thing is, Rich, we had to pull up with a lot of old school kind of centre backs in Damien Delaney, Scott Dan, and these kind of defenders, and they've done remarkable for us over the years. But we all knew going forward, if we're going to go through a rebuild process, we have to adapt to the way the modern game is played. You know, and Anderson and Gurhey and potentially Chris Richards, who made his debut last night, by the way, and shout out to him for a very comfortable debut, albeit he only had a brief run of things. This is the sort of thing that you want to see, is that we're trying to transition from the old school Palace, from promotion to the end of Roy, to now, like, even if Vieira leaves, this is what we want to do long term. We want to play an attractive brand of football that gets us higher up the table. We want to start seeing youngsters come through, provided that there's a platform for them to come through. It's all well and good that, you know, we've got the Raksakis and the Daramolas out on loan now. Great. We'll have to keep an eye on them. Unfortunately, we've got to actually want Charlton to do well because Raksaki's playing there now. But look, the things we do for Palace. But the important thing to focus on with the Andersons and the like is just enjoy them while they're here, because we've signed them for good value. But because they're playing in a team that people are liking to watch, the potential sell-on market value for us to recoup from is way higher than it was before this rebuild was started. But just quickly, I'm going to quickly touch on Diaz's goal. How one man can send 5 men to the chip shop for a battered cod mushy peas, a big bag of chips, and a can of whatever fizzy drink people want to drink. If it's apple tango, orange tango, if anybody says Tizer, it's done out here. I don't know Tizer.
He actually then got curry sauce on top as well.
Well, curry sauce can bang when you need it to, but it wouldn't be my go-to sauce on chips.
Aye.
But don't get me wrong, curry sauce is lit. I'm not gonna front and act like it's not. It doesn't bang. Yeah, you know what? That watch along was more like a food review, bruv. I was laughing, going, "We're talking more about food than football." What is it? But hey, that's Eagle Eye football watch-alongs for you people. 100%. And it's easier for me when I'm not doing it by myself because the pre-season watch-alongs were ropey. You know,
they're not easy by yourself. They're not.
not by any stretch. Not by any stretch. But yeah, look, the Diaz goal, not much, hell of a finish. Great strike, great player, no problem. So, who was your man of the match? Obviously, people do let us know in the comments once this show goes live, once this show premieres, because myself and Rich will be probably at work tomorrow when this premieres, so we won't be able to see comments until we check in later on. I kind of want to give it to Ebbs, to be truthful. I mean, Anderson is obviously up there, but I think for Ebbs to have the start of the season he's had where he's looked very sharp in pre-season, he was somewhat quiet yet last week against Arsenal. He got a great assist last night. You're looking at it going, okay, slowly but surely, we're getting to see the Ebereze of old, but I've got to give it to Anderson. Like, he was just a man mountain. Obviously, the red card, you know, we've already discussed it, but yeah, look, Anderson, look, I think the whole back four, or five even, are under consideration because Ward didn't put a foot wrong. Well, obviously, agendas have to run. Well, Luca's on the pitch, Ward's on the pitch, we're getting relegated, we're going to lose, we're going to get battered 13-1 or wherever it was. No, but you know how Palace Twitter works. The minute Luca was on, people were saying we're losing. I went, it's only 1-1. You sure about that?
Once again, he did a job. He did a job. I mean,
he ain't my captain, personally speaking. But who would you rather bring on? Jordan Much or Milivojevic? I know who I'm picking. And it damn sure ain't that fraudulent former number 22. Just saying.
100%. Anderson for me as well. Like you said, any one of the back five could have got it. Like, it was such a defensively solid performance. You know, lots of discipline, lots of nervy moments, last-ditch tackles, blocks, that works. For Anderson, more so for his dark arts, fair play to you. Fair play to you. You know, he was brilliant, so he's my man of the match.
Yeah, 100%. Just finishing the last bit for a banner here. Obviously, Rich, we have got the Aston Villa preview to arrange Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, should be, Martin should be about that.
Yeah. So we'll arrange that. And obviously, the big eagle-eyed football meetup is on Saturday. I'm not looking forward to getting on a plane at 7:05 in the morning, but the things I do for Crystal Palace and eagle-eyed football, you know what I'm saying? Don't say I don't love you, people.
It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold.
Yeah, but listen, I'm looking forward to it. Me and Martin kind of ended up on 2 different flights going over, but you know, look, the main thing is he's coming. He's going to have a great time. We're going to show him what Selhurst Park is all about. I have warned him, mate, just be careful if Villa score because the half weight is a little bit messy.
It's not forgiven.
I said, no, you'll be fine. I said, don't worry. I said, if it was the Holmesdale, I'd be more worried for you. But, you know, we're not like our neighbours up the road in Bermondsey. We actually don't, you know, we're not terrible people. But having said that, Rich, look, if you'd have offered us a point before a ball was kicked, we'd have snatched at it. So it's a solid point to build off of. Obviously, the dream scenario is a last-minute Wilfried Zaha winner, shushing the cop, proper-ish housery and what have you. But I weren't mad at a point. And a couple of smug Liverpool fans that were talking about 4s and 5s and 6s. Even somebody predicted 7 in the predictions league. Yeah. Oh,
I messaged him personally, like, bro. Really?
yeah, what are you saying, bro?
But yeah, for those who obviously didn't expect us to get the draw, here's a personal graphic for you. Yeah, it was a well-earned point.
Okay, so as you said, people, down on that banner, it says leave your man of the match nominations in the comments, and be sure to stay tuned for the Aston Villa preview on Thursday evening. I believe we'll go live for that one, Rich.
Yeah, we'll go live.
Yeah, so match reactions are going to be recorded now because our schedule is just way too busy now. We're so busy with eagle-eyed football that we don't have time for the lengthy streams we did last season. Because trust me, half of it was just us lot laughing like hyenas, and we need to, we need to curb that a bit. I don't regret it, people, because the last we had last season got us through some great games and some great memories. But like I said, eagle-eyed football is evolving. We're always talking about new ideas. We're always trying to bring new stuff to the table. So if there's anything you want to recommend to us, leave it in the comments.
Please do.
We'll have a chat about it in the group chat. And you know what? If we do go with your show idea, you'll be sure to get a big shout out on the channel beforehand. Anyway, folks, I think we can leave it there. Rich, I don't mean to keep you any longer than necessary. I've got to get up for work in the morning myself. So it's your boy Eagle-Eyed Nate. It's the one and only Rich. I know I'm doing a JC pointing all over the shop, but it don't matter. You know what? Everybody's going to have a bit of a Squidward move. You know what it is.
100%.
Nah, listen, we build towards the big game on Saturday, Thursday night preview show. Predictions deadline should be Friday, I believe.
Yeah, it's still Friday evening at the moment.
Yeah, because obviously some people might just sneak in their predictions 5 minutes before the Saturday kickoff, and we ain't having that. We ain't having that kind of. So bear in mind, people, the deadline, I think we've set it for 6 p.m. on the Friday. If it's after that, we might let it sneak in, but I don't think we will.
Comfortable with that now. Yeah. Get in before 6, please. It helps me out as well.
Actually, Rich, you'll have a chat backstage about that. But people, it's been your boy Eagle-Eyed Nate. It's been Rich. We're Eagle-Eyed Football, and we're out.
Hey.